All right. Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of Selective Hearing. It's been a few weeks due to scheduling and everything, but we finally have everybody here, kind of lumping in multiple episodes into one. We've got Federico Verlicchi, who was the voted April Player of the Month for the Select League. And then we also have Coach Daniel Nichols joining us. He coached the Brazil team to victory in the World Cup tournament that started everything that we're doing here. And then we'll kind of go over what's happened since the last episode in the league and the games this weekend. We'll also touch on some other stuff happening around KCAF and possibly even the leagues over in Europe. Federico, want to tell us a little bit about yourself? You got voted in April, the Player of the Month for April, and kind of how's that been for you coming into this league, and kind of what was your background coming into here?
Sure. Thank you for having me. And it was so I played college soccer in the US my freshman year at Eastern Illinois, and then I played at Rockhurst for 3 years. Before that, I played in the Hellas Verona Academy in Italy for 3 years, and then I played at semi-professional level before coming overseas in the US and get an education while playing, which was a great decision. And after a few years after college, it was kind of hard to find a league that could take good care of my body, in the sense of trying to get some work on while having fun and still playing soccer, because unfortunately in the US, compared to Europe, it's harder to find non-professional leagues. And so as soon as I saw the Select League post on Facebook, I started to look through it the first year, and then I made the move to get back into playing soccer a little bit, and it was a great decision for sure.
So obviously it's been good for you so far. Woodland's sitting at second in the table behind Olathe United, and you're voted on by the owners pretty overwhelmingly for the Player of the Month for April. Kind of go over how the season's been going, not only for Woodland but for you personally.
Yeah, it's been great. The team is very strong. In the preseason, we had good practices, get to know each other a little better, and we started very strong with 3 wins. And we already knew, looking at the other teams, that the level this year compared to last year, what I heard, got much better in the league overall. So it was definitely challenging, and every game is a battle in this league, and kind of reminds me a little bit of college, in the sense of that every team can challenge you. It doesn't really matter if you're playing home or away, every team is gonna get on the field to win. And so it's been great to see that type of environment in the league. And after the first 3 wins, we had a tie against Southside 3-3, and we got our first loss against Olathe. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there for that game, but it seems like it was a very, very tough battle for both teams, and they came up with the win with a penalty in the last 10 minutes. So we can't wait to play them again at home.
Yeah, we're coming up on the halfway point of the season, and, Woodland are sitting in a good position not only to challenge for the title again back to back, but also to maintain their position in the top 3, which gets them the Champions League spot. What are your expectations just going into these last 2.5 months of the season?
Yeah, we definitely, the most important is try to stay healthy, because we had some injuries, and especially in the midfield. Besides the first game against Cromwell, our midfield hasn't played together until last week against Antioch. And the subs have been great. Like, our team is very strong, especially the players that are coming up from the bench always give a great support to the team. But it's just about that chemistry, that with a short season is hard to find. And so not being able to play all the same 11 or almost the same 11 every week is being kind of hard. And that's why the little adjustment brought us to a tie and a loss after the first 3 wins, just because we had to make so many changes. So it's just about try to adapt as fast as possible and try to get the results. Doesn't really matter the style you play or the way you play at this point in the league. It's just about try to get the 3 points at home and try to push for the last 3-4 games that we know that since the league has been very competitive, we know that this year the championship is going to be a battle until the last game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned it, the league being, very physical, and the aspect of both teams coming to a game, giving everything that they have. Being somebody from Europe and being able to play in the European semi-pro scene, what is what comparisons have you seen from Italy and United States in the semi-pro sense?
Yeah, definitely. The big difference is that unfortunately in the US, because of how the system is developed, you only play with players of your same age. In college, the only difference will be 3, 4, 5 years tops. Where in Europe, when you start playing, you're gonna play with and against people that are like 35, 38 years old with 25 years of experience in their back, and so that gives you, like, of course, a lot more confidence to get into the field, but also as a youngster you get a lot of help from those players. And so that's why I feel like this league is being great, just because as an older player myself right now, it kind of try to help the younger kids that they're still in college or like they still want to play at a good level. That's definitely the biggest difference. But also I've been here 8 years, and I kind of see how soccer in the US goes is very physical, where in Europe is more about try to be more experienced, try to get the fall to take a break, or try to keep the ball, or even just sit a little bit deeper and just defend where is needed. Especially in Italy, I feel like we've been famous for our strong defending DNA in the last 50 years. But it's just about those little things that I said before. If you play against the players that are like 30 years old, they have more experience. So even if it's a 50-50 foul, they'll go on the ground to try to get that foul, get the other team a little bit frustrated. And those are just little things that sometimes in the US are missing. And but it's been a great experience so far.
Yeah, and I know you guys got Liberty this weekend. Them being one of the hottest teams right now, I think it's 5 wins in a row. What are you guys expecting going into that game? I know that one should be one of the more fun ones to pay attention to this weekend. I think the winner of that one will take control of second place. So, yeah, just give us your thoughts and your expectations going into Saturday.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough game because of their enthusiasm for sure. Coming with 7 wins in a row, they will definitely come out hot the first, especially 15, 20 minutes. And so we need to try to stay calm and play our game, because we know that we have a great team, and we know that it's going to be tough. We're going to play at St. Pius X, and where we play against Villa. So we already know the field. We know how narrow it is. And so try to use our strength to get through the team, which I heard Liberty's been a positive surprise this year, coming from not a great spot from last year's table. So definitely that enthusiasm with 5 wins in a row and getting the team together is definitely going to be tough. We just need to try to get the 3 points home to keep the pressure on Olathe, because if we keep dropping other points, we know that the championship is not going to be easy to win this year again. So we just need to try to get the points home.
Daniel, have you been able to watch any of the Select League this year, any games, or catch up kind of what's going on?
I have not been able to watch any live, but I've certainly caught several games on the YouTube channel, videos, recaps, stuff like that. So yeah, it's been great.
He kind of mentioned the difference between Italian football there and here in the States, and I think every confederation under FIFA is a little bit different. Even Brazil, Brazil's got a very different game than Italy and the United States. And as mentioned, you coached the Brazilian team here locally for the World Cup that really just kicked off everything here. Did you guys kind of follow that same model that the actual Brazilian national team plays under?
Actually, to the contrary, we use the current Brazilian men's national team and as an example not to follow. We
been a struggle lately, hasn't it?
Correct. So yeah, we used it constantly throughout that preseason and preparation for the World Cup and during the World Cup, and we really focused hard on our mentality, on our attitude, on our team spirit. As you can recall, while other teams were blowing out other teams, Brazil had a lot of close games in the Select League World Cup, so we were in tough battles, and we really needed the group to come together, and we overcame some key injuries. So our focus was on that team spirit and just having a good attitude and approach to every single game. I would say in terms of the Brazilian men's national team, one that really irks me as a Brazilian, having been born and raised in Brazil, is that mentality of approaching the game, starting the game with a thought of, well, we already won. We're Brazil. We're better than you, and that has not really done them well at all, as the results can prove in the last several World Cups and other tournaments as well.
Do you think they've been kind of taking teams for granted?
For sure.
So how was it like in the kind of renamed KCAF World Cup? That's the first one we've done. We're hoping to get another one scheduled here. If not this summer, for sure next summer. But how was it just winning the whole thing? Like, I was there at the game, and it just had, like, obviously it didn't have the same feeling as the real World Cup, but it was just like the excitement from both teams playing in it. Playing the national anthems. Both teams were Algeria, being the other team, both of them just played with a national pride and energy. And even after the game, I mean, it was just like a big party afterwards. You know what I mean? It was just it was a big celebration for the entire tournament.
For sure. I was really blown away with how well the tournament was put together, for one, and for how it ended. I thought it was amazing. It really was a lot of tension, good pressure and tension, and it was a great game. Come from behind against Algeria, a team that had been playing together for several years. So it was an exciting game for sure.
It was really a joy to watch. It was a close game, 2-1 there. Federico kind of mentioned possibly getting an Italian team together, and I know we've got a few Italians. I was telling them already signed up, so I think we're up to 16 international teams now, give or take. And so if we can get that moving forward to the next tournament, it's going to be twice as large as the last one. Which should do pretty well.
Absolutely, it'd be great to have a team like Italy in there with the history and the tradition that they've had in the game of soccer. It'd be great to have Italy in there.
There's just certain teams that you really have to have to make it a proper World Cup, and Italy, Brazil, England, Croatia. For me, having Cameroon in there, they're always constant, it seems. So it's I look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun if we can get it up and going again on the international side.
We might get to an Italian team to the World Cup before the actual Italian team gets to a
Yeah.
World Cup.
Oh, it's been a
because it's been rough for us lately. So
it's crazy because both your country's teams have been just dominant powerhouses year after year. I mean, for decades. And it's just like recently we're seeing kind of a change into. I mean, who would have thought 20 years ago France would be where they're at, where they have been this good, you know? And there's, I mean, Spain had a little bit of a run there, but yeah, Italy and World Cup without Italy and Brazil just it doesn't seem right. So how's Italy looking so far?
not great, unfortunately. No. It's just about young talent, and we just struggled to get that raw young talent like we did back in the days. If you think about 2002, 2006, that was like kind of the end of that golden generation. We had Del Piero, Totti, Vieri, Maldini, Cannavaro, Buffon. Like we had so many soccer Hall of Famers in the same team, where now if you have to just mention one Hall of Famer in this team, that you can't. And so it's just about Italian teams that they're not planning ahead like Spain is doing, where they keep producing young talent, make them play. Like Yamal, it's been great in the Champions League. He's 17-year-old. They won at Euros when he was 16. You don't see that in Italy, and it's just about trust the young kids and make them play. And in Italy, unfortunately, we do not do that, just because of the whole system is not very healthy at the moment. But we won Euros, so we thought that was going to be fine, and then we didn't qualify for another World Cup. So we're back to zero again. So hopefully we can qualify for the next one.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that has to do with the league system itself too, and just how not only the rules are structured behind, you know, youth initiative and like U23 players, but also just like different roster rules in general about like how many foreigners you can have on your team and just different things like that. I feel like that's one of the main reasons why United States has been kind of on the uprise recently, is with how MLS is having the U22 designated player rules, and you know, promoting teams to build homegrown players and stuff like that. I feel like if other leagues around the world did that, then you would be able to see more of that youth talent come through and go and play for the national team. Like I know with Spain, they have Barcelona Academy, which is one of the highest praised academy in the world. So it's pretty obvious that, you know, Spain is going to produce some young talent when their clubs that play in that country just have such good youth academies. So I feel like you know, these countries need to invest more into their club systems youth academy and have them help bring up the nation itself.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And it's also about what your goal for the youth teams is, where many times, unfortunately, coaches that coach like younger kids are underpaid in Italy, and they struggle to find, you know, very high quality coaches. So and the other issue is that many coaches, they just think that it's important to win rather than grow young talents in-house, and so then there's not a long-term cohesive plan as a system, where actually we are seeing in Italy with tennis. Italy is not being famous with tennis. So yeah, we had good history in tennis, but it never been like a powerhouse. Now we have more, almost, if I'm not wrong, more than 10 players in the top 100. And it's never happened before. It's just because of the overall system started from zero and actually planning to grow talent. And that's what I think the Italian system needs to do. And just instead of being, we're Italy, we won 4 World Cups, we know what we're doing. It's like, no, you're not, because you didn't qualify for the last 2 World Cups. So like, you need to sit down all together and find a way to restart from zero and do it well. And that's what we're struggling to do. But I know that Brazil just got an Italian coach, Ancelotti, for the next World Cup. So let's see he can do there.
Do you guys think you two countries obviously, are struggling compared to, I mean, like I say, they're powerhouses and like we're struggling lately. Do you think it's similar issues of, because you kind of touched on too, Federico, and obviously Daniel, you mentioned it, just kind of thinking the history of the team is just going to pull them along, and they just kind of don't prepare enough for the teams they face?
Yeah, for Brazil, there's a handful of issues, but I would definitely say the number one issue that I've seen is that they don't have the talent that they had like 25, 30 years ago, when you could have a player or two, or Romario, Bebeto, Ronaldo, number 9, have a poor game and against a good team, but then they'd have one brilliant moment and decide the game, and they'd win 1-0, 2-0, or 2-1 against a good team. They don't have that edge on talent anymore, and the increased physicality of the European teams and even Argentinian teams. Brazil just has fallen behind. They have not prepared well mentally, physically, talent-wise. Sometimes bureaucracy and even corruption among the CBF, which is the Brazilian Soccer Federation. I mean, good, young, talented players are left off because other players that are in Europe, that are on big name clubs with big name contracts, get the call up from the coaches. So I'm definitely really excited to see what Carlo Ancelotti is going to do. Has his work cut out for him for sure, because it's not going to be easy. Brazil, in my opinion, hasn't performed well and hasn't performed consistently in a very long time.
It's kind of like what Federico was saying about Italy. I remember watching Italy growing up. I mean, my first memory of the World Cup was Roberto Baggio, watching him play. And was that 1990, I think?
Yes.
All right. And it's just and then obviously all the Brazilian teams that have won. It's been strange not seeing both teams there. Anyways, guess we'll kind of move on to the this coming weekend's matches. We've kind of touched on the Liberty Antioch game. We'll go over these pretty quickly because I don't want to keep you guys too long. But we got Woodland, Liberty. We just touched on the match of the week, which is this Friday. We'll have Northland FC hosting Olathe United. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, looking at this game on paper, Northland's gone through a little bit of a rough stretch recently, just with injuries, with just roster issues in general. And Olathe, they're just on a hot streak right now. Not only are they 7-0, but they've also beaten the other 4 teams in the top 5. So I can see Olathe coming home with this one pretty easily.
And I think I agree with that. And then we've got Southside and Lenexa. You guys played both these teams, correct, Federico?
Yes.
What do you? I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, but how do you think this one's going to go?
Southside is definitely a very strong team, especially offensively. They have a few very fast wingers, and they're able to be dangerous very often throughout the game. I think that Lenexa, unfortunately, it didn't collect all the good things that they've been doing, even against us. Even if the result was, I think it was 4-1 or 5-1. They produced much more than what they brought home. So I feel like, unfortunately, we played them, I believe, the second game, and so it was very early on. But if they kept building on what they were doing, I still see Southside bring the win home, but I don't think it's going to be. I think it will be like a close game. Definitely could be a close game.
The Lenexa hurting defensively. I think is where they hopefully they can bring some people in for the summer transfer there. And Southside, as we know, they're decent defensively, but they're just potent offense. And so I think that's going to be a rough one for Lenexa City. Daniel, you may know about this next one, Antioch Rangers and Real Overland Park, since Michael's playing and your son's playing for Real, right, Victor?
Yes, correct.
And so you've got two nephews and Victor playing on the team?
I think it's just a nephew and Victor, but somebody else that Michael is related to is on the team.
Oh, right, well. Right.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a pretty fun game. Could go either way or tie. Obviously, both Antioch Rangers FC and Real LP are in a good phase right now, having lost each of them have lost multiple games in a row. So there should be a good opportunity for either team to get back in the winning column.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to, I think Federico kind of touched on something that I picked up on, where he was saying, for Woodland, having a consistent roster game in and game out, that's something that we found out last year. And we're starting to find out this year as well, is just, it's a long season. And, not only do the players have, work outside of the league, but they've also, you get injuries and everything else. And sometimes it can be a struggle getting, a consistent roster, a consistent team on the field. And that changes everything from week to week. I know just going on to the last game for this week in Leawood Forest hosting Crown Villa, last week Forest only had 10 players all game. I think the substitution rules we put in place, at the beginning of the year really helped make things more competitive. I think last year, that game would have been probably double digits to maybe 1 or 2 goals, But it's going to be a challenge. I think the Forest Crown Villa game, obviously, Landon and I have interest in that game, and we'll see how that goes. As long as the lights stay on all game, the last 2 home games at Leawood, we've had the lights go out at halftime for whatever reason, and the timers, and so. Hopefully, you don't have that drama this weekend. But is there anything else you want to guys touch on for this week? This weekend's games?
I think my favorite game for sure this weekend is going to be the Liberty Woodland game. I'm definitely going to – I already told Philip this past week I'm going to try to stop by before heading to the Villa game. But, no, I think – Liberty, they've got pretty fast squad. Similar, I would say definitely super similar to Southside. I think they figured it out defensively recently, and I feel like that's one of the main reasons they're on the win streak that they're on. I know Woodland has that sophisticated style of offense, and they're precise in the way they break down their opponent. I feel like Liberty will do a good job for a little bit, but I could definitely see them letting a few chances go through. And, if Woodland's able to take advantage of those opportunities, I feel like that they'll be able to walk home with this one. But I definitely see Liberty giving, Woodland a run for their money.
And you're playing this weekend, correct, Federico?
Yes, I'm playing. We definitely need to get our defensive side a little bit more organized. In the last few games, we've been conceding too many goals compared to the beginning of the season, where we were able to score first and then just kind of not relax, but like kind of like get ahead with the game, because we knew how solid our backline was, and as a team defensively. And I feel like as a team defensively lately we've been dropping a little bit, so we need to try to definitely stay focused and defend as a whole group and as a team, just to get ahead of the game. Because especially even against Antioch last week, we went up 2-0 in the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the game, and then we conceded an easy goal. We weren't able to get back fast enough, and with a counter they were able to score. Hopefully this week we will be able to get that. Yeah, just I think against Liberty we need to get our defensive structure figured out, since the last few games we've been conceding too many goals, and I think if we're able to do that this week, we'll be able to get the win for sure, because we know how strong we are offensively, so it's just a matter of being able to make sure we're able to defend well as a team.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's going to be the big difference maker in the game is, Liberty's one of those teams that wants to sit back and, take in the pressure and counter off of it. They scored all three of their goals against Villa on a clearance counter. One clearance, one dude running through, just outpaced everybody and was one-on-one with the keeper. Just the awareness is going to be a huge thing defensively for Woodland, and then also offensively, just not getting frustrated about stalling out. If they want to play at that slower pace, you just have to find the gaps and figure out what's there at that pace, rather than trying to force things by speeding it up. So
yeah.
So I don't know. Let's see if I can figure this out here to share the screen, get moving along here. And so we've kind of had, I've been looking at getting a second tier team started so that we can start, second tier league started so that we could do promotion relegation. I think I'm not sure how many of you guys know about that portion of it. But we launched the website. It's going to be called the Challenger League, kind of a play on the championship over in England, which our whole model is based off of. Let me see here. Is my screen sharing now?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the website we launched for it. All the clubs at the top right now are kind of placeholders. There's a couple. You'll see Armory here. That is actually going to be one of the clubs there out of Belton. Lee Summit was a club that we had at the Select League last year that that we're trying to get set up for at least a club in Lee Summit, if not the same club there. But
Yeah,
we do have.
I was an alumni of that team.
What's that?
I was an alumni of that team.
Yes, you came up through there. But the good news is we have probably five solid owners already for this new league, and we've got just almost a year to go. So it looks like it's pretty positive that we'll be able to get this going and up and running, and then start doing promotion relegation next year. The other project that I think has been mentioned last podcast was the Wichita League. We actually have somebody interested to support and get the Hutchinson club going, which is right here, aptly named FC Solstad. The Wichita League is going to be a little bit different from Select League in that it's going to be modeled after the German way of doing it. So the supporters will end up being the kind of ownership and run the league or run each club. So, the more supporters they have, the more people they will have actually operating each club. I could have sworn I had updated this even more than it's showing on here, but I guess not. And we're hoping to have probably about 10 teams for that Wichita area. As you can see, it'll branch out to Hutchinson, probably up to Newton. So those are all within 40 minutes. And then we've got the club that, or the league that we're going to look to put into Topeka, which is the League of Topeka. And that one's probably going to be a smaller league. I'm thinking maybe 6 clubs in the Topeka area. And this is the website that we just launched for that. Again, these clubs may just end up being placeholders for that league. And they all culminate together for the KCAF Super League, which is going to be our version of the Champions League, as you can see. And we'll get that up and running as soon as we can get these other leagues running. But we've had some pretty good feedback for Wichita that we've had maybe listed for about a month now. So hopefully we'll get that going next year. Anyways, that's all I've got for this evening. Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on? All right. Well, I guess we'll, before we sew it up, let's get everybody's picks for the Champions League final this in a couple weeks. What do you got?
Federico, you want to start us off?
Sure. I think PSG is going to win the penalties, and Donnarumma is going to save at least 2 and is going to win the Ballon d'Or.
Well, Italian bias, but as a goalkeeper, I support it. So, for me, I'm an Arsenal fan. So seeing PSG in the final, I can't root for them. So I'm definitely gonna go with Inter. I hope Thuram has a good game. He's one of my favorite players at the moment. I'm hoping it doesn't go to penalties, just because I hate penalties. I hate that that's the way that a game is ending. I'm hoping that if it does go to extra time, they pull off like what they did against Barcelona near the end. But I'm hoping Inter wins this one.
Coach?
Inter Milan 2-1.
2-1. So I'm going to change mine up. As Federico knows, we tried filming this episode last week, and after we got it all said and done, there was no audio. So I'm actually going to switch mine up. I had Inter Milan last week, but I was listening to what Federico said, and I got thinking about PSG and just like this whole tournament. They've been the team, and so as much as I hate to say it, because I don't necessarily want them to win, but I think PSG is going to pull it off. So
yeah, I just think the gods of soccer too. If you think about PSG, Mbappe left, Neymar left, Messi left, and no one believed in new young players, and they are there. So I think something is going to happen. So I think something is going to go their way.
And I don't know how much of the Arsenal game, the second game there you watched with Arsenal and PSG, and I honestly, they didn't even look like they should belong on the same field together. I didn't think the second half. The PSG just kind of had their way with them, I felt, but I don't know. That's me. So
yeah, I just think Luis Enrique is such an underrated coach. And the way he's able to make every team that he coaches play the way he wants with the player that he wants, it's outstanding. And I think as a person as well, he deserves to win another Champions League as well.
Yeah, the coaching's underrated, as Daniel can tell you, and but it showed, like in the World Cup that he won. It really came down to the teams that had dedicated and knowledgeable quality coaches. The 2 teams that were in the final were the 2 best coaches in that tournament by far. and I think you're seeing that in our league too. Especially last year, you saw teams that had dedicated coaches and some didn't, and that really translated onto the field. And I think that goes from kind of, you touched on that with the youth academies. Federico, coaching is huge, and so it starts at the youth level and all the way up to the top. So yeah, I agree. So I've got PSG. Anyways, I appreciate you guys all coming out tonight. I know it's been a hit or miss for a couple weeks, and we got this one going. So appreciate it, and appreciate the patience, and thanks for making everything work with all this.
Good stuff. Exciting news going on in the league for sure. Really looking forward to seeing how it develops and grows.
Yeah, we'll see. It's grown faster and bigger than I had ever anticipated it would. So only one way to go. Well, I guess there's two ways to go. So hopefully it's up.
Yeah, and it's exciting to have the relegation system in place. I think will definitely bring the level of the league up and the commitment from teams as well. I think it's a great thing for U.S. soccer. Unfortunately, MLS doesn't have, but we have it in KC. Yeah. So good for us.
And USL, I don't know how much you guys are watching the USL, but I strongly, I've gotten to where I'm watching more USL than Major League Soccer because I really support what they're doing. And they're putting a really good product out on the field. I mean, there was just this evening was Birmingham and Rhode Island. And Rhode Island just built a brand new stadium. It's gorgeous. It's they're coming for MLS to either negotiate and become one big pyramid, or one of them will lose out. So we'll see. But
and we just heard from our coach Will Bowler that he talked with Matt Bisler, the former Sporting KC player. Told him that he knows about Woodland and he knows about the Select League as well, and he knows about it. So it's a great news for us.
Our coach Leewood is friends with him and asked him if he'd want to play for Leewood. So he hasn't said no yet. So we'll see. Well, guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful night.
You too, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ciao.
Thanks, guys.